Hey, welcome to our podcast today. This is Eric Johnson, the brand.
And Aaron Thigpen, the source. Today's topic, 3 weeks to fitness. We've only got a short period of time. It looks like things are opening up. Guys are going to get back to playing ball. Are you ready? It's been about 13 weeks since we've been on lockdown, and now comes the time where, hey, did you do what you're supposed to do? If you didn't, what can you do to mitigate what you didn't do? I don't know what to say, but I can say I told you so, and I can laugh at you, and I probably still will, but my job is also to help you too. So me and EJ are here today to try and give you some things that you might be able to do to help save the upcoming season for you.
Aaron, the funny thing is that, it's so true because, we just started these little small group workouts with our athletes. And I think the main thing is that you could see who's been working and who hasn't been working. But we have those, 21 days, to get started. So I think the most important thing is don't get back in it right away the first week and kill yourself. So when you get into that second week, you're trying to recover so much that you're not really having a benefit. So I think a plan for 21 days is really the way to go.
Yeah, I think the first thing that most people are going to do is kind of have that knee-jerk response, and they're going to try and get everything done. Right. And they're going to go at it balls out that first week, and then you know what? They're going to be trashed for the next week. So you actually end up losing time. So it's better to kind of gradually build yourself up and understand that you're going to have to continue some of your activity during the season, whatever that might look like. So you don't want to, again, go balls out for a week, then you're trashed, and then you're trying to catch up one more week. So really you're only getting 2 out of a possible 3 weeks available to you.
Right.
So first things first, sit down, write out a calendar, and write out exactly what days you're going to work out, what activities you're going to have, and also map out your rest intervals, and understand that you can't get everything done. Right. So prioritize what you think is most important to you, whether it's your strength, your speed, maybe some of your overall conditioning, aerobic or anaerobic conditioning, and then prioritize from there. And I think that's the most efficient and the safest way to go.
Aaron, I look at our guys and, they're working out a couple times a week practice right now. I'm trying to ease them back in to baseball activities, or whether it's a basketball athlete that's working out in the summer, and just trying to be smart about their activities and not trying to do too much too fast and give them enough rest time, recovery time to do stuff. And I started running with these different kinds of athletes, and guys like, I'll do another. I can do another circuit with that, and I'm like, let's back off a little bit, because we're just starting again to get all those muscles moving again, and really the adrenaline pumps in when you work out. Now that they're outside, we've been inside so much, and a confined quarters. Now we have some fresh air. We're running. We're on a track, or we're on a field. We got our shoes on, and it's a different feeling.
Yeah.
And you got to take into account that, right?
Right. Yeah. There's this pent up energy to get back and doing things, and it's mentally it's great, because you're like, man, I'm back in the saddle again. But again, you have to be careful about how you turn that spigot on, or how you put that foot on the accelerator. You don't want to burn rubber. You just want to gradually accelerate and get up to speed. The biggest thing I want to caution athletes on is recovery. Because what will happen is most athletes will want to do something every day. Right. And you can only do that for a certain period of time. Mm-hmm. And you may be able to get through 3 weeks of doing that. But what will happen is after that third week, you'll crash. And when will you crash? Right when you're starting to compete. So that's why it's important to have the rest intervals during this training period. Mm-hmm. And you've just got to trust that what you do will be enough to get you by, And with a maintenance plan during the playing season, you can, by the mid or end of the season, however long that period may be, you can get to full playing potential.
Right, because the season's going to look like something like if you start here in 3 weeks, you're looking at probably a 6-week period to 8-week period. And I think what's going to happen with many sports, if they have activity, they're going to have a quick turnaround. It's going to be like a week later. They're going to start the next season. They call it a wraparound season. So I think the rest, having a plan, training correctly during this summer season is kind of critical, because you're going to need to rest at the end of the year. You're going to have to rest and do the recovery extensive period, as you would. But since this is a wraparound season, you got to really be smart about how you are planning your schedule, and something, your diet is kind of critical, because you need rest. You said rest, diet's crucial, and planning this all out takes a lot of work, and you got to really sit down and do it instead of just saying, I'll just do this and I'll figure that out later. I don't think that's a good plan, Aaron.
Right.
I'm sure you agree with that too.
And again, it comes back to everything that we're always preaching about. It's not just the mechanics of doing these things, it's the management is what really benefits athletes. And not every athlete is going to have that knowledge and expertise. And even if you're not going to be under a coach, excuse me, or a trainer on a regular basis, you should still probably consult with somebody and say, hey, this is my goal, this is my timeline, these are things I need to try and get done. How can I make all of this stuff fit together and make sense, so that I can not, one, hurt myself, and two, still perform.
Right.
That's probably the biggest takeaway that I can give athletes is take a little time to do those sorts of things and then move forward.
Right. We've been working on this project for about 2.5 years, and probably more extensively than that, Aaron, because we've talked about this over all the years that you and I have met each other and done things with each other. Is in Hardball Athletics, our venture here, and trying to get athletes to have a better sense of being managed and understanding what productivity is to get them to the next level is important. I think we can provide kind of that guidance to kind of get athletes to that next level in terms of having a system that allows them to flourish, and it's smart. Sit down and we talk about things that can get them to that next level. And I think over this period right now, where you get these 21 days, sit down with someone and really think about what you're doing, instead of just kind of flying by the seat of the pants. We see a lot of athletes come in. I have a lot of athletes that called me and say, hey, what do I do now? What do I do now? And I say, hey, slow down. Let's just say, hey, let's plan this way. And talking to them, what are you doing? Are you eating properly? Are you eating enough calories? Guys are working out really hard, Aaron, and they're in the gym, they're doing all that stuff, but you find out they're not maybe eating enough calories, or they're not resting enough.
Right.
And I think having a management system like we talk about in that Hardball Athletics, it allows you to do these things.
And just like if you haven't been doing the training properly, you probably haven't been eating properly.
Right.
And there's a cumulative effect to that, and how your body's chemistry has been affected these last 3 months based on what you've been eating. And so to go back to a different sort of activity and kind of purge what's in the system is going to take some time. And so yes, nutrition is a big part of the turnaround that you've got to make, so that your body does respond well to the demands that you're starting to put on it.
So I guess in this 3 weeks that we have to get back into some sort of game type shape, it's very important that you really think about planning it correctly. And I think a point that you mentioned is that you don't try to do too much too fast on all accounts.
Right.
You're smart about your planning. You're smart about your training. You're smart about your diet, your recovery. and you're doing things that can help you. I think a lot of athletes don't drink enough water, or they're not hydrated properly, and I see injuries happening during this period of time of 3 weeks. And you could see this too, as many athletes that you see. I'm finding that out a little bit. Our guys, sore muscles, more or less, and guys pulling up a little. I'm like, hey, you're going to slow down a little bit. Don't go so hard. Let's go 75, 80% in the running. Or, you know, how do you feel about that, and what you see?
Yeah, they've got to ease themselves into it, because the body, it's going to be a shock to the body for most of these people. And I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. These we've talked about this on other podcasts, and we talked about it at the very beginning of the coronavirus and what athletes should be doing so that they don't get to this point. But of course, not everyone listens. So now we're here. What do we do? And these are just some of the basic things. Schedule out your next 3 or 4 weeks before your competition. Schedule out your work periods, your rest periods. Start to adjust your diet accordingly, and be consistent. The best thing you can do during this next 3 weeks is be consistent, and that's really the most you can do. Lastly, find some expertise that can maybe help you manage this period and work through it. Put the proper things in order and in place.
Those are key things there, and I like what you say there. You've given them a nice guide and what to do in the next 3 weeks, and we only wish everyone health, happiness, and most importantly, just be good to each other. So again, this is Eric Johnson, the brand,
and Aaron Thigpen, the source.
We'll catch you next time on our next podcast.